Right, hello. I'm doing a follow-up, finally, getting around to this. And I keep trying to do this video and it keeps going wrong for some strange reason. So maybe I'm not really supposed to be destined to do this. I don't know. But anyway, what we're dealing with here is a few days ago, Pete Hegseth used a quote, a fake Bible quote, out of Pulp Fiction, okay, in a prayer service thing in the Pentagon, right? I think that's what it was. But anyway, so you probably would have heard about this already. Now I'm going to run some numbers with this out to a projected date, which is the 10th of November this year. That's the next kind of really big date for the Hoover Dam. Although there are a couple of dates prior to that, and actually this decode we will actually touch on one of those dates as well in this decode. Okay, so right, why was this interesting that Pete Hegseth used this quote out of Pulp Fiction? Well, the reason why it's interesting, and I'm hoping most people are familiar with the scene where this happens in Pulp Fiction. Okay, Vince and Jules have just gone to retrieve the briefcase from a group of guys. Okay, and in this particular scene, Jules has just shot the character known as Flock of Seagulls, right? And of course, if we use that name, Flock of Seagulls, we go to the band, okay? And that band, Flock of Seagulls, had a hit song called Iran, okay? And so then we got this connection back. We were looking at this right at the time when they started Operation Epic Fury, which was at the end of February. And so we were looking at this scene at that point to do with Jules shooting Flock of Seagulls, right? Anyway, so it was interesting this has popped up again. Now, in that scene, there are connections to the Hoover Dam. There's also some connections to Madonna. I'm not going through all of that again. It's, just stuff that we build on as we go through doing videos. Okay. Right, where to go with this? I guess we should just jump straight into the number jumps, really. But we have to know firstly that this is the piece that Jules says in Pulp Fiction, okay. Ezekiel 25:17, right? I'm not going to read it, but that's the piece he's using. This is the piece that was copied by Pete Hegseth and referenced as Caesar's something. I can't even remember what the number was. We can probably find it in here. I'm not going to worry about it right now. And that standard for search and rescue or something like that. That little bit of language that's in front of that. But anyway, so this piece of writing here is lifted. It's not directly from the Bible. There's only a little bit in here that's actually kind of connected to Ezekiel 25:17. Okay. The rest of it's kind of, I guess, made up, or bits and pieces of it might have been. It kind of sounds biblical, but anyway, this is where it comes from. Get to the point, damn. This film here. So this is where Quentin Tarantino's got it from. Bodyguard, Kiba. Okay, we're just going to go. We're going to go from the release of that film, and we're going to see if there's anything interesting, and then we're going to move on with life. Okay. So from the release of that film through to when Pete Hegseth said the quote 19319. Already alarm bells are ringing for me on this number, because this number connects into the dollar bill. Okay, and of course, just thinking about the martial arts connection and Quentin Tarantino in Kill Bill. Yeah, okay. I'm thinking, okay, well, this is, to me, this is most definitely a dollar bill reference. Okay, so if we're remembering the old silver certificate, it has the number 1 written on it, and embedded within the word number 1 is 913. Okay, and that spells us out pi, and we flip that number around, and there's a snake. There's a snake and an owl in that dollar bill, and it references back to the new dollar bill that has a little owl, which you join up two sides of the dollar bill that we use now, and it gives us a date. It gives us the 10th of November, 1011, okay, with the owl fold, right? And it gives us the reference back to pi. And then the following day, of course, is 1111, which is quite a good reference to the Hoover Dam, because it physically has an 1111 at the Hoover Dam, okay, with 2 inlet towers on each side of the Hoover Dam. There's 2 inlet towers on one side, 2 on the other side, and it forms an 1111, okay? So it would be a very good day for them to do that ritual at the Hoover Dam, because the actual dam itself and the structure of it encode pi for the Pi Day, 10/11, the 10th of November, sorry, is the 314th day of the year, pi, okay? And what else do I want to say about it? And of course the double 11, the structure of the whole thing, right? Anyway, I've seen this and I think, well, hang on, let's just check, see if it's anything interesting as well. And of course, it shows up as 2190 prime, okay? And I just take the 219 out of that, okay? And I'm thinking to myself, okay, well, I'll just start doing some number jumps. And I did it backwards, okay? So instead of the 2517, I did 1725. And I thought, you know what, I'll go back from this date, because I've been looking at it quite a bit the last few weeks, right? So I just tried it back, and it hit on 219, 2022. And I'm like, ooh, so that might be something to that, seeing as we saw a 219 here with this. Okay, so I'm thinking, well, there might be something to this now. Okay, we've got the numbers just reversed, instead of 2517, we've got 1725. So I've got these flipped. Don't forget that whole bit in that dollar bill, that old silver certificate, is about flipping that around to reveal the 139, okay, without getting too technical about it anyway. So I'm thinking, okay, well, I'll go back now from this date to the release of Pulp Fiction. The release of Pulp Fiction, the 14th of October 94. So I've gone back from that 219 date back to the release of Pulp Fiction, and it's 9990 days. I'm like, oh, that is well interesting. Just knock that 0 off the end. It's 999, of course, if you're from England. Emergency service number, a very similar idea to 911, but also flip that, it's a 666. I'm thinking, hang on a minute, I just flipped this number around where Jules has just quoted 2517, right, in that scene, and then now I'm getting 999 out to the from that date to the release of the film. And hang on a minute, in that actual scene, right before, so in that scene, Brett's about to get executed, right? So he's just said the quote, right? Ezekiel 25:17. He's just used that quote right before he's gonna kill him. But right before this scene, Vince has just opened the briefcase. And the briefcase, the number to open the briefcase, and he's looking inside the briefcase, and there's something golden in there. Okay, the golden phallus, maybe. Okay, we never know what's in there, but there's something golden in there. Okay, anyway, here we go. Right, 666 is what the number is to open the briefcase. And so we've just had, it's absolutely amazing really when you think about it. So I've just got a reverse number jump and then another reverse number here for things that are in that scene. Absolutely crazy. And it's connecting us out to this 10/11 date, this Pi Day, which is in the dollar bill. Now, let me show you something else. So I was like, well, I'll do a regular number jump back from, I'll just go out from Pulp Fiction, the release of Pulp Fiction. I'll just do the forward 2517 and see where it takes me. Okay, and it took me to 9/4/2001. Now, what I will say about the number 94 is this is in the dollar bill. We were just looking at the 9th of April, which is in the dollar bill as well, but September the 4th specifically is also in the dollar bill through I'm not going to do the I'm not going to show you it now, but if somebody wants to see that number jump, I can show you it. But needless to say, that number jump is going from the 5th of May, 5/5, 122 days through to this date here. Okay, and that's all encoded in the dollar bill. So I thought that was interesting that we had another date that, you know, something else that was to do with the dollar bill here, right? Anyway, got to this day and I thought, well, let's check and go through, you know, as our final jump and see how many days it was through to, actually went through to the 10th again, and I saw that it was, we were getting like add that on, and it's very close, and add that on, and it's 9,200 days. Now don't forget, this 10/11 date, we're really dealing with what I think will be a midnight hour event. Okay, that's what I think anyway, because you're dealing with this going into, you know, Remembrance Day. Okay, remembering, member, just like there in the briefcase, was it the gold member that he was looking at? Okay, that is the resurrection of man. Okay, now notice in Pulp Fiction, Marcellus Wallace, who they're getting that briefcase for, that there's something golden that's missing in there, has a band-aid on the back of it. It's either on the base of his head or the back of his neck. Now that could be a reference to the phallus being missing. Okay, an injury to the neck or the head. Okay, that thing being missing, and that's what I think they're searching for anyway. His lost gold member, and that's what they're getting back for him. That's why they, you know, and they don't show it in the film, but that's what I reckon it is anyway. Could be something else, whatever. But anyway, it's definitely to do with resurrection, definitely to do with gold, and the sun is what a lot of people think it's Marcellus Wallace's soul in there. Okay, and that would be, you know, just as good of as a guess as anything, you know, because it's all the same kind of symbolism. Right, where are we at? Okay, so that through to there, 92. Now let me show you the reference to 92 in here is this 29. Okay, notice we've been doing all this stuff on the white wedding that happens on 7/29 is the big white wedding. This is the perfect combination of these two numbers here. Okay, 11 and 18. Add them together equals 29. This is how this cycle, how this sequence works. But what is special about this is if you take these two numbers and individually reduce them, 2 and 9. And of course you can see a cross here going this way when you use the individual reductions with the other one not reduced. You get some interesting numbers like 218. Actually, John Travolta's birthday, 218. Isn't that fascinating that they've got somebody in there that's a 218? And then of course 911 in the other direction there. Okay, but this is what is important about this, is they both these numbers reduce individually to 29, so they maintain their individuality, yet when they're combined they also equal 29. So it's a combination number that keeps individuality as well. So this is really important. It doesn't just bind the two up and they don't lose their individuality to one another. Okay, that makes sense. Right, what else to say about this? Let's not get too bogged down with it. I want to keep this video short, right, instead of like waffling on, but this is super duper important, right? I also did this. So if you think, okay, well, you're just picking out a number, Dan, and okay, that's marginally interesting that it's coming out of that. Let's tie this back to Pete Hegseth again. So what I did is I took that 9/4 date and I thought, well, let's just have a look to when Pete Hegseth did his little speech with it. Okay, 8989 days, right? So what? Let's now check out from the beginning of Operation Epic Fury right here. This is the beginning of the Iran thing, through to Pete Hegseth's birthday this year. Okay, 98 days. Now that to me, I know it's the other way around, but that to me is a good connection, right? From that 9/4 date through to him doing the little speech with the Ezekiel 25:17, 8989, and then we've got the 98 here coming up for Epic Fury through to his birthday. That's got to be something to that. One more thing, just out of interest, I've got Samuel L. Jackson's birthday in here through to what am I say? This through this is Samuel L. Jackson's birthday through to Donald Trump's birthday, 921. Okay, so that is pretty interesting, with that number jump as well. Okay, I know it's got the 1 on the end, but it's pretty good. Okay, also notice that, well, if you just go to the variations here, 2 years, 190, let me put it in so you can see it better. Okay, so you can now see how this sort of goes full circle, yeah? 219 as well, right? So let's go back to this so you can see, yeah, 219, okay, as well. Okay, 192. Does that make sense to people? Okay, you see how all those numbers tie together. Quite simple, but I think there's something to it. Anyway, does I want to mention anything else? One more thing to mention. Now, who is saying this? Who is saying the whole thing? I just went past him. Hang on a minute. Here he is. Samuel L. Jackson, right? So, I did come across a video by Jacob Israel. I occasionally watch this guy. He's got some interesting stuff. Trump Samson prophecy. Okay, and when the Samson thing. Anyway, he mentions this connection with Ezekiel 25:17 to the Samson prophecy. Okay, and he mentions some other bits and pieces in here. You just go check his video out. There's no point in me regurgitating what he's saying. But anyway, there is a connection there with that little bit of the Bible quote that is in that piece. Okay, because there's a little piece that is actually kind of in there, right? It's not the full thing, but there is a little bit in there. What am I saying is, I actually have it up here, but this little bit here is the actual Bible quote, and I will execute great vengeance upon them with furious rebukes, and they shall know that I am the Lord when I shall lay my vengeance upon them. And so that obviously ties in with this little bit here. I will strike down upon thee with great vengeance and furious anger those who attempt to poison and destroy my brothers, and you will know my name is the Lord when I lay my vengeance upon thee. Okay, right. So anyway, he is connecting that back with Samson. So just get to the bloody point, Dan, and finish this video off for you, mate. Samuel L. Jackson. The first 3 letters and the last 3 letters of Samuel L. Jackson's name, you can get Samson out of that, okay? And this connection back with, this sort of Bible prophecy stuff with Samson, okay? And the destruction of the temple, essentially, okay? I'm leaving it there, right? What else to say about it? I don't know. Hope you enjoyed. Alright, I'll catch you on another one sometime here shortly. Alright, cheers. Bye.